Hey everybody, Carla Archer here helping you work on your wellness. Hope you guys are doing wonderful and thank you for joining us today. Today I have Laura back with me today as my special guest. Hi Laura.
Hi, great to see you.
Great to see you too. Where are you coming from today?
I am at Chautauqua, New York again, which is where I was last time I joined in.
Yeah.
Normally I'm in Lexington, Kentucky, but I love the cold, chilly winter, so here I am.
So you're taking a little bit of that in and then you can get out of it, which is a nice option.
Exactly right.
Well, Laura's here today. She's a personal trainer, a posture specialist, speaker, author, and she's just amazing. We have been having so much fun. It's been so great to get to know Laura, and she is all about enhancing your wellness, enriching your life, the quest for good health, and that it should be fun, science-based, and sustainable. And you really do prove that that is a way that you can do your exercises and work on your wellness. So today, Laura is here to talk about butt pain. Have you guys been sitting too much? Oh my goodness. Laura, I'll let you take it away from here, but this is so timely for me. We talked a little bit about why that is, but I think a lot of people have some butt pain.
I have heard in the last week from 4 of my clients who say, I don't know how to say this politely, but my butt really hurts. So I think we're all in the same boat because we've been sitting so much with COVID. And so I wanted to talk a little bit today about some of the easy ways to correct that, and also for people to understand why that's happening, because I think that educating you about the why is going to make you not only understand it more, but follow through a little bit better. So basically, when our butt hurts, it's a twofold problem. The first problem is that you're putting all of the weight of your torso, the weight of your head, the weight of your chest, the weight of your organs, and any extra weight that you might be carrying is now all loaded on that poor butt. The way that we were designed, remember, is to be here, so that part of my load is on my feet, part of my load is on my knees, part of my load is on my hips, and then part of it is just kind of suspending here through my muscular torso. But when we sit, all bets are off. I now only have one load point, right? So it starts to hurt because the knees and the heels are not doing their job. The other reason that hurts is because when we sit, well, actually there's 2 more reasons. Another reason that it hurts is because when we sit, we are compressing those muscles. So we think about the butt as kind of being a bony entity, but it's also a muscular entity. So when we sit on it, we are suffocating the muscles in the butt and the hips and the hamstrings. And remember that the muscles are living, breathing, positive and negative charges. And all day long, millions and millions of muscle fibers are sliding until we sit on them and sit still for an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. And now those muscles that are meant to be doing this, positive and negative charges, are jammed. And that turns into spasms and cramps and aches. And it hurts because it's trying desperately to keep sliding, but we're sitting on it and we won't let it move. So moving is a good way to, just any movement is a good way to allow that to happen, get rid of all that spasm. Stand up as often as you can to relieve the load that's on your butt. But then muscularly, and this is my most favorite part, the shoulder and the butt are connected. Here's the back of the body. Here's the shoulder. And here's, whoops, I'm trying to go backwards here. Here's the opposite butt right here. So see how they are connected by a diagonal line? So when I'm sitting and my butt's under and my shoulders are slumped over my work, look at what I did to that line. I lengthened from this shoulder to this butt. I'm pulling on that like a giant rubber band, and I'm pulling it and pulling it and pulling it. And remember, what it wants to do is live right here. I have yanked it apart and I've held it there for such a long time that it hurts. So one of the ways to restore butt pain is to let the shoulder and the butt come back together with some posture therapy.
Oh, that's so brilliant.
Usually I'm one that's like, let's just learn one thing, but today let's learn everything.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I love that brilliant explanation, because isn't that true? You know, I was always mousing with this arm, and I ended up with some severe lower back pain on my left side. And I went to exercise, and it was just so tight from having been sitting and working so much that it just went like that. So I love that you showed us how that can
I think that is such a fascinating way, backside, to remember the muscular anatomy. It's really in a series of X's. It's not just linear, particularly in the relationship between the butt and the. I am really struggling with pointing today.
We get it. We can see it from here.
So then I want everybody also to think about anatomical position, which basically is this. Okay, it's the way we see the body depicted in those charts in the doctor's offices, right? So just nice kind of straight line, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over heels, palms facing forward. This is where your body feels best, looks best, and functions best. And now I'm not just talking about the muscles. I'm talking about the nerves and the blood. So the nerves and the vascularity of the circulatory system, so your arteries and veins, they work best when we're here. When I start to kink the hose, think of garden hoses coming from the brain to the butt to the heel. Now think about what that garden hose is doing if I'm sitting. I've created a kink in the hose here and here. So I have two giant kinks, and I'm sitting on that kink. So not a lot of nervous system information or blood can get down or back up again because I'm kinked. And when we don't get nerve information to our butt or blood to the butt or the lower legs, it starts to get hot. It starts to get really hot and really achy. And that's brilliant, I think, because that what your body is telling you to do is get up and move, unkink the hose, right? So that all the nerves and all the blood flow can not only get to it, but also get back up to the brain. We want, you know this, you want that great communication in the nervous system. So why are we impeding that by kinking the hose and then sitting on the hose?
Yeah, that's a really great analogy to give us some perspective on what we're actually doing to our bodies. And you're so right. Our brain and our bodies are designed to let us know when we are in danger or we are having a problem. So those are signals we need to listen to.
Exactly. And I promise you, taking an anti-inflammatory is not the message that your brain is trying to give you. It's trying to do something even more simple than that. Just stand up. So I thought it would be great to start today with just 2 stand-up exercises that people can do, you know, every 45 minutes that you're sitting. Set a little timer. When that goes off, stand up and just do a couple quick standing exercises. So these are going to bring me back into the unkinked version of myself. Okay, as we do these today, I want you to just imagine what's happening to that garden hose as it becomes unkinked and blood flow and nervous system flow are free. Okay.
Let's do this.
So the thing we're going to do is just a standing toe raise. And maybe you want to hold something here like the edge of your desk or the back of a chair or something. But I want you, before we even get started, to think about ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, and hips over heels. And now I'm just going to come up and down on my tippy toes. So what I've done, obviously, is unkink that hose. There's a straight line from my brain to my hips to my heels, and there's a straight line from my heart, the blood flow, right? From my heart to my hips to my heels. And I'm helping that pump by coming up and down onto my toes and using my calves. So now my calves are acting like a muscular mechanical pump down here to help bring all that blood back up. So after you do 10 of those, now I want to bring the pump up here. So now my heart is going to pump blood to my upper extremity. So I just have my knuckles on my cheeks, and I'm going to open and close the gate. Open and close the gate. And so this is starting to correct that upper back slump. You should feel how the shoulders are connecting to the glutes. My heart is pumping blood upward now, and we'll do a couple more. And this can be any upper body exercise. If this isn't the right exercise for you, maybe dumbbell curls is the right exercise for you here. Point being, we want to go from a lower body exercise to an upper body exercise, and then back to a lower body. So now I'm going to do those toe raises in pigeon toe. I've turned my toes in. I'm going to come up and down 10 times. Again, activating that pump down below, pumping some blood, pumping some of that lymph, pumping some neurological information from down there all the way up. I've unkinked the hose. The other nice thing, Carla, about turning the toes in, it changes the position of my hips. So when we were here, my hips are pointed this way. Now my hips are turned in this way, which is going to start kind of coaxing some tightness out of our hip girdle. So then let's go back up here, pump the blood up high. Again, this doesn't have to be fancy or structured. It just has to be movements in vertical load, okay? So my heels and my knees are holding some of my body weight, and I've unkinked the hose.
Say to people, you know, do your range of motion that you can, because for some people they're going to be really tight in the back and maybe they can't get that same flexibility you have.
Exactly. Right. Maybe bicep curls are right here, maybe shoulder raises are right here. I don't care what it is, but it should be something for your upper body. Maybe it's even some twists, okay? So now we have our third set. We're going to turn those toes out, which might be, we call that duck foot. And so once again, we're going to pump the blood from the lower body. I've changed the position of my hips again, so I'm working, sneaking in a little bit of work there in those hip muscles. This one feels the best for me. I love this one. I love how it kind of rolls my hips out like that. All right. And then for let's do like 10 more reps here. Really trying to pull those slumpy shoulders back.
I feel like this is perking me up too in my mind. It's waking me up a little bit, getting me up, getting the blood pumping, and it's fantastic. I feel better already.
I love that. It's so great for your body. It's so great for your butt, but it's also so great for your brain. Yeah, because when we unkink that big hose, more information can go back to our brain and our heart, and those are two pretty important organs. So we want good communication there all the time.
I feel like even just having sat down again that I'm sitting up straighter. My shoulders are back, my chest is open. So,
and I mean, that took us what, 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes tops? Yeah, probably 3 because I was talking a little bit. But yeah, you can zip through that once every hour. It's going to make such a big difference, not only for your butt, but the blood flow, the neurological flow, and, you know, reduce the slumping shoulders and all that. There are 2 other exercises. We talked a little bit about the muscles of the hip. When we're sitting, the muscles of the hip are long, right? So if I'm calling this the muscles of the hip, look what happens when I sit down. The distance gets really stretched. So those hip muscles are on a big stretch. Now that rubber band is getting really long from here to here. It's gotten super long, pardon the view. That hurts after a while. So what we want to do is shorten that rubber band to its normal length, so there's less achy tension on it. So do we have time for 2 more exercises?
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
So now we're going to go to the floor and be face down. If that's not right for you, go back and do the first exercise. But if you want to join me on the floor, what we're going to do is get into a frog. And this feels heavenly. I want you to drop my screen a little bit more. I want you to lie on your back with the bottoms of your feet together and your knees out to the side. And what that does right away is it starts to open my hips and adjust the position. Now it has a nice little pelvic position. So then
We just lost you there, Laura. We'll see if we can get Laura back on, and then she can show us more about that frog exercise. There we go. So far, how are you guys liking the exercises? Pretty cool stuff and really simple to do. Like Laura was saying, set a timer and every hour get up and do these simple stretches. She may have to pop out and pop back on. Are you back with us? She's always a load of fun too. That's what I really like and enjoy about spending time with Laura, because she makes exercises a lot of fun.
Can you see me now?
I can see now. You heard about the frog?
So sorry.
That's okay.
How's that?
Okay, you're back.
Okay.
So we went to the floor. We just heard you say about the frog, but we missed everything else.
Okay, sorry. So this is what you're going to do with your arms on the frog. Okay, so while you're lying on your back, you're going to do that. Your legs are going to be like this. And what that does is it arches the lower back a little bit, gets us out of that slumpy pelvis, and puts a little spring in the pelvis here. Okay, and then I'm going to do the arms, which are connectors to the butt. So maybe, yeah, instead of me walking away, why don't you demonstrate? Yeah, perfect.
Little feet together.
Bottoms of the feet together. Yeah. And then can you feel how when your knees are just out like that, your lower back starts to arch naturally?
Yes, it does. And oh, it feels good.
Isn't that heavenly? Yeah. And if you remember the diagram that we looked at of the muscles, how the right shoulder connects to the left glute, we're kind of reinforcing that relationship also.
I can do that from my shoulders and into the hips and in the lower back area, which feels really nice. It feels like a really nice break.
Exactly.
Relief.
Exactly. So I think the interesting thing to know here or to recognize is that even though our complaint is that our butt hurts, we haven't really done anything with the butt. We're trying to reposition the muscles and the parts of the body that are putting strain on that butt. Okay. So it doesn't mean you need a bunch of butt stretches or anything magic around that. We just need to pull the shoulders back so that backside diagonal is in better relationship and unkink the hose.
Yeah, absolutely. I was mentioning yesterday that I had been sitting a lot on my computer and I was feeling that in my lower back. And I started rubbing around because I understand that it's probably coming from somewhere else. And I started rubbing my shoulder and it felt better. And then I realized, like I was mentioning, I had a little brain fog during my workout yesterday. And I think I did all my lunges on the right side. So my right leg was killing. It was super sore. So yeah, you really realize how it's coming from a different location.
Exactly. Yeah. So my advice would be if you're listening and your butt is hurting, consider, are you kinking it? Are you loading it too much? Or is it disconnected from the shoulder girdle? And do a little detective work on those 3 items and then adjust as necessary.
Yeah, I think even just doing some of those exercises you just showed us is really going to help you identify where it's actually coming from. Because if it's in your shoulder and you raise those arms overhead, or even this one here, you're going to feel that right in that spot right away.
Exactly. Yes. Good. Cool.
Excellent. So tell us a little bit about Posture Camp. This is starting for you Monday, November 2nd. Tell us what that's all about.
So Posture Camp is one of the first services that I started to offer in addition to personal training. And I love it because over the 4-week period, I help people become better detectives for their pain. I don't want people to keep relying on somebody else to fix them. I want them to have a better understanding of their body, a better understanding of how to fix it, and a better understanding of how to maintain it. So for a lot of people, I'm glad you don't have any aches and pains, but let's learn how to maintain that status so that you don't end up with an injury. So each week of Posture Camp, and you'll remember this from being a recent graduate, we go through a different element of good posture. So the first week we talk about vertical load, like standing with the proper amount of weight on the shoulders and the hips and the heels so that no part of the body is overworking or underworking. And then the second week we go on to the front side of the body and the back side of the body. And what is that relationship like? Is the front of the body doing all the work during the day and the back of the body's gotten kind of lazy? So week 2 restores that. And then week 3 is the right side and the left side. We all have a dominant side. We all have habits related to that dominant side. We all sleep on the same side. We all drive on the same side. So over time, our brain and our body and our right and left get a little bit imbalanced. So week 3 is all about restoring the right-left relationship. This is also a great week for people that have coordination or balance issues, because in addition to moving the body, we're also going to move the brain in that right hemisphere, left hemisphere stuff. And then week 4, we talk about basic mechanics, like what is the proper way to walk, and how do we correct some of our gait abnormalities that put us on the sideline. If you always walk with one foot turned out and always walk with one foot turned straight ahead, over time something is going to hurt over here. So there's a very specific way that we're supposed to move when we walk, and so week 4 is all about restoring the form and the function of the body the way it was intended. Yeah, so it's fun because we have a group of people. I take everybody right through the exercises. I give everybody the handouts. I give everybody the videos, so you can continue doing the exercises on your own. And for the rest of the year, they take about 20 minutes. Posture camp's about 45 to 60 minutes, but the exercises, if you do them from top to bottom, really only take 20 minutes. So it's a nice regimen to add to all the great stuff that you're already doing.
Absolutely. And I can personally attest to it. Like you said, I'm a posture camp graduate. And, you know, when you said it makes you a detective of your own body, and I just finished saying that exact same thing, where I was like, okay, I knew because this was hurting that it was probably coming from somewhere else. And you do such a great job, just like you're doing today, of making it simple for us to understand what's going on in our bodies and how to figure things out. I have to say, you know, the posture day, the posture week, that was probably the other times I noticed a real relief in the strain and pain that I was carrying, maybe in my shoulders, my hips, my lower back.
Yeah.
But that was the one that I noticed the biggest, I'll say, discomfort in my muscles, because I was changing the way my gait was, and you know, it was really making things a lot different. And so I enjoyed doing those during the week, because as I progressed, it lessened, and obviously my posture was improving. So
I love it. The body is such a magical piece of machinery. And that's one of my favorite things about my career, and especially posture camp, is being able to get people turned on about that, help them to understand. There's so much information out there right now about fitness and pain, and that world is so big. And I think my place in that world is to trim it all down. What are the basics? What are the whys? And where can I meet you to make sure that you're doing exactly what you need right now? And that's going to change, you know, as you progress or as you decline. But helping people sift through all that noise and really help them be better detectives, but better choosers about how to use their exercise time. Yeah.
I think what you do too is you help provide relief instantly, but you also educate us, and being aware is half the battle. Because if you're sitting in your chair all day not thinking about why you're hurting, but with what you just said to me, now I'm always going to be thinking, oh, my hose is kinked, I better, and you know, my time, I'm going to set my timers. So I think even just having that slightest bit of awareness will really impact people and their pain levels and their discomfort and just how they're living and functioning.
Exactly.
We got a few testimonials from a couple other people that were in our group too. My hips have been sore for years, and this helped after just 1 week. Like I said, for me, the differences were noticeable right away with some of the exercises. And it's crazy how my body feels more balanced now, especially when I golf, which is a great thing. As a golfer, I know that for sure firsthand. And what a nice way to end my day. I always sleep better when I do the exercises right before bed. And oftentimes that's the time of day that I was doing them too, because it just kind of took away the day, and I was really nice and relaxed, and I felt good going to bed.
I love that. Yeah, good.
So you touched on why posture is so important, but just give us a little snapshot of, you know, with our overall health, like you talked about, not only our spinal structure, our muscular, our neurology, pardon me, just a little bit more about why it's so important.
Well, posture is not just standing up straight. It's not just being in a straight line and having beautiful carriage. It's using your body in the way it was intended from a mechanical and functional standpoint as well. And so good posture means that you can kind of reach and play sports that are to one side, or sit in a car for a long period of time, or sit at a desk for a long period of time, but you can effortlessly and frequently get right back to proper alignment, proper load, proper function, and proper mechanics. So it's kind of a dynamic concept. It's not just, oh, she stands so tall, look at that posture. It's, oh, she can get down on the floor and all of her joints and muscles are working in exactly the way they should, and then she can carry a grocery bag out to the car and not injure herself. So to me, posture is important because it prevents injury, it prevents overload, it prevents overuse, it prevents falling, it prevents aches and pains. And I think it's important because it goes with your CrossFit regimen, it goes with your yoga, it goes with physical therapy, it goes with your bicycling. It's not, you don't have to decide this or that. It's yes. Yeah. It's going to make all of that stuff work so much better because you can effortlessly go back to proper load, proper mechanics, and proper function without all the ailments associated with living.
Absolutely. And the nice thing you'd mentioned, every week is different in Posture Camp, but I like how you coached us through, find the ones that you enjoy the most or seem to give you the most benefit and make a regime of those ones.
Right.
So, it's not going to take you all day to do all of these exercises. It's about selecting what's going to be best for you and then maybe carrying on with you with your other coaching programs that you offer.
Exactly. I mean, optimally, the exercises that you end up picking, the ones that you cherry pick that are best for you, put together a little 15 or 20-minute regimen. Do it every day. I mean, that seems like a lot, but is it really? Yeah. Especially before bedtime. And we know that now we're supposed to minimize artificial light and blue light and screen time before bed. So what a nice substitute routine. Instead of watching TV or looking at your phone before bed, turn all that off, lie on the floor right next to your bed, do your posture exercises for 15 minutes, and then you'll be so sedated and happy and cozy, and you can just sleep like a baby. Yeah, and then maybe wake up and do it first thing in the morning again.
You have two choices. You can be in pain for 24 hours a day, or you can spend 15 minutes and not be in pain 24 hours a day.
Exactly.
And, that's really what it is. So you have to make that personal choice of where's the value for you and make it happen. So Posture Camp starts Monday, November 2nd, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's a Zoom call, correct?
Yes, it is. And it's actually only 4 weeks now. We're in, we're out now. We compressed it. The fifth week is a bonus independent study.
Oh,
so
perfect.
we'll be wrapping up just before the Thanksgiving in the U.S.
Okay. And people can register at your website, of course, yourkneehurts.com.
Yes. And at that website, there's also a freebie. If you like the exercises that we did today and you go to the Posture Camp registration page, you can request a freebie and I send you 8 of my favorite exercises.
Oh, perfect. Excellent. And while we're there, we'll just touch on this briefly. You have a new book that you released, of course.
Yes, my best copy. Yeah, I would love it if you guys checked out my book. It's real quick. You can read it in one sitting. It's 90 pages of everything I've learned over the last 30 years. And the first chapter is about posture, but the other chapters, and I don't talk enough about these, take charge of your hormones, take charge of your nutrition, and take charge of your exercise. I really think those 4 pillars, right? Posture, hormones, nutrition, and exercise. If we take charge of all 4 of those things, amazing things are possible. I mean, longevity, reduced risk of disease, better performance at your sport, better performance just in your life, whether that be mentally or physically. And so it serves as a nice little checklist. At the end of each chapter, there's a little checklist for you to really ponder, like, how are you really doing with your sleep? How are you really doing with your stress? Those are just as important to your knee pain as exercises, sleep and stress, nutrition, what you're eating. Are you overfed and undernourished? That's one of the kind of hot points in that nutrition chapter. But I think it's a nice assessment tool. Whether or not your knees hurt, I think it's a nice little assessment tool of those 4 important pillars of good health. It's available on Amazon.
Oh, perfect. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah. And you guys, if you're interested to learn more about Laura, certainly go to her website and check that out, her Facebook page, or you can email Laura directly if you have any questions. But do go to her website. Of course, your knees hurt, and get registered for that posture camp. It will really change everything for you. And again, because we are sitting all the time and our butts hurt, like my butt hurts too, I'm going to be getting up more often and unkinking that hose and doing simple stretches. Yeah, just share with us if you want to too. If you're doing some of those exercises, we'd love to hear that.
Yeah, maybe that's the title of my next book. Are you a pain in the butt?
Yeah. Well, I love your sense of humor, Laura. It's been so much fun to have you on here again, and such valuable information. So thank you for coming on.
It's my pleasure. Great to see you. I appreciate it. Thank you all. I would love to hear from you.
Yes, we'll talk to you again soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.